The year was 2016. I had just graduated high school, and the reality was starting to set in that I needed to figure out what I was going to do with my life and what path I was going to set out on. Now, keep in mind, I spent 4 years in high school just studying music production, and I really wanted to dive into it, but I was still on the fence about starting. The night after graduation, I had some friends over to my house, and I remember my one friend who I had known for a long time since second grade. He told me that his aunt and uncle wanted him to bring some friends out to California, and he suggested that we make that our senior trip. So growing up, I had always been traveling on family vacations, going to Florida, going to South Carolina. I had never been out west though, so this was a new opportunity for me. I definitely instantly wanted to do it. I didn't even have anything in mind as far as how this would end up correlating to music though. So we took this trip in July, so about a month after we originally had the idea. And I just remember flying into San Diego, seeing the shipyards, seeing where the Padres play, and just being like fascinated by the sights and sounds. And we ended up doing a lot of cool things on this trip. We went to Venice Beach, we went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Amoeba Music was a cool thing we did, all kinds of cool stuff. But I think the biggest thing that we ended up taking away from this trip was it finally led us, and me specifically, to begin my journey in music. My buddy and I had always had that musical connection as far as, sharing favorite artists and things like that. And we had talked about, he wanted to rap and I was going to produce. And it was actually his uncle on this trip who kind of gave us that extra push and the motivation we needed, as well as just taking in the sights and sounds. Like I said, in California, there's a lot of art-based things going on, a lot of creativity and a lot of different energy. So it was kind of cool to take that all in. His uncle specifically really encouraged us to go for it, especially if we had a passion for it. And that week, he actually showed us some of his equipment that he had from his music making days. He had like a mixing board, he had a microphone, a little setup going on. And I remember we actually recorded my friend's first song that week. So while it's safe to say you're never going to hear that song because it wasn't that great, I think it was just the experience of being able to do it for the first time. And I remember all I did was took a picture of him recording, and I still have that picture to this day. And just absorbing that energy and the information that we received from his uncle and just about his experiences. And I think that really gave us both, kind of the kickstart to, once we got back to Ohio, we began our journey. You know what I mean? I bought my laptop, bought a MIDI keyboard, the audio interface and the microphone and the full setup, and we just kept going, and we haven't stopped since. It's been 7 years now. So I have to give this trip, really the credit it deserves for me specifically just getting started in music and continuing to this day. It's also awesome to look back on that trip and just think about how far, I've come in music and life in general. But as far as, musically, I hadn't made a beat at that time. I hadn't even touched FL Studio or anything. Now I'm thousands of beats in. I've worked with independent artists from all over the world. I do a podcast, all kinds of cool stuff. So just looking back, and it's like 7 years wasn't that long ago, but the progress that's been made just because I've been able to stick with it and do it every day, that alone is inspiring in itself. And I definitely hope, everyone can take a little from this story and apply it to their own, life and what they do. And I know you guys probably have some stories like this as well. So just wanted to share this today for a little bit of inspiration if you guys needed it.